it's Becca. I think we're all pretty jolted by the continuing violence against our black brothers and sisters. And what's this have to do with marijuana? Well, stick with me here. In the midst of all this strife, the term white privilege has been bandied about. White privilege, what does that mean? There are good resources describing this, but as a white person trying to identify and own my white privilege, I'd like to share a story with you, a scholarly case study actually, that really frames white privilege for me and maybe you too. The case study is about Alan, a young African-American man who worked at a retail store. Alan liked his work, but struggled with the way he was treated by his boss. The boss said degrading things to him and saddled him with menial tasks. Hell, the boss even made Alan track black customers in the store to make sure that they weren't stealing. Alan's work experiences consisted of hostile actions toward him, intended to communicate his inferior status due to his race. This kind of ongoing abusive treatment is standard operating procedure for most of our African American citizens. As a white person, what would you do if you encountered this daily torment, a combination of overt racist comments and actions along with an ongoing series of belittling insults day in and day out, whether it's at your job or simply out and about? I'm a white girl who experienced an abusive and traumatic childhood, but I grew up and out of that abuse. I still had to set myself right and heal from all those emotional woundings, but my life moved into a safe space. But if you're a black person in America, for many, the daily torment, whether it's overt or insidious, is ongoing from childhood right into adulthood. And studies show those relentless trauma-inducing hits of hate result in low self-esteem, feelings of humiliation, inadequacy, and depression. It's called race-based trauma, and research shows it's as devastating as trauma from rape and domestic violence. Only you can't rescue yourself from race-based trauma. It's not a one-time deal. It's ongoing. And worse, someone who has experienced a racist incident may be told by a white person that if they're polite, they work hard, or dress in a certain way, they won't encounter racism. And when a black person follows those rules and racism persists, feelings of hopelessness, helplessness, hypervigilance can worsen the condition. In other words, no escape. No escape in our society for our black sisters and brothers. Going back to Alan, he got himself together enough to file a complaint about his racist boss, and then, because of it, he was threatened by his boss and then fired. Alan spiraled downward, panic attacks, flashbacks, difficulty concentrating. He was diagnosed with race-based trauma. And to circle back to marijuana, in thinking about this, if the plant promotes relief from the symptoms of trauma, doesn't it stand a reason that marijuana medicine for Black Americans over all these many decades has been a means of coping with the deep woundings caused by systematic racism in this country? There are studies lined up to study post-traumatic stress in war veterans. And maybe that should include blacks, because America, for them, is a war zone. I'm Becca Williams. Thanks for joining me. Subscribe if you're called, and I'll see you next time.